What's up, guys? It is Mark, owner operator of the Jeep Lab, and today we are here doing a valve cover gasket for a Jeep TJ. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So again, we are doing a valve cover gasket on a Jeep TJ. We're actually in the process of doing two today. We just finished one on a 97 TJ, and we've got a 2004 here that we're going to be doing as well. Fortunately, the 97, that's the original gasket that we just pulled off. So it was definitely time, but we went ahead and got the Felpro, which is the one that we recommend. This one is metal. It has the blue rubber gasket around it. It also comes with the inserts. But today I've got a special guest that is gonna be here helping me, which is awesome because I can hold the camera, I can talk, his hands can do all the work. I'll probably help. But we've got Kevin from On the Trail podcast here today helping us. He's just hanging out today, so we figured, what the heck, let's put him to work. Plus, he's got a couple things that he wants to use and take pictures for his podcast. So if you haven't seen Kevin and Scott On the Trail podcast, go check them out. We've done a couple episodes with them as well. Great guys here local to have around. So we're going to get busy. All right, so like I said, we've got Kevin from On the Trail podcast. He's going to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why you may be even getting into this. You may be seeing a leak or whatnot, but he's going to kind of explain the reasons why you may be opening this up or why you should change it when you're going and looking at other things.
Hey guys, Kevin here. Thanks Mark for inviting me over. What we have here is an 03 TJ, and it's got an intermittent miss. Breaks up a little bit at higher RPMs, at lower RPMs. Mark has been through the electrical system, and kudos to him for that. Every injector works, every plug works. We're not having that we can tell a breakdown. I came over, we went through the wiring. So now we're into looking in those weird areas to find problems. And one of the biggest things that can cause a higher RPM breakup is a potential valve issue. We could have a broken spring, we could have a bad rocker, and we're going to dig into this Jeep and take a look at it, and we're going to bring you along so you can see how we open up the top of this straight six. It's scary to most people, but it's actually really simple. We just finished it on Mark's Jeep about 10 minutes ago.
We went ahead and pulled off the intake, guys. You just need a screwdriver there, undo this, guys. Just your step one. And we're gonna get in to start removing everything else, all these rails, connections.
All right, we're gonna pull the throttle assembly off real quick. It's very simple, but it's confusing. All I'm gonna do is this just pops off, and then you come over here and you see there's little tabs. And I'm just gonna take these pliers, any pliers will do, squeeze the tabs in, and wiggle it out. Throttle's out. And by the way, you can just storch it over out of the way that way. And you got the heater hoses, don't drain them, don't take them off, just pull them up out of their little clip. And then you see this is your oil lever, or your oil stick lever.
With your dipstick, Jimmy!
It just stores right behind there. And then you just take the bracket it started in, and it pulls straight up. And now, we're ready to start taking off the bolts. This street bolts out. I took that radiator bracket off, and if yours does what this one does, it comes apart. Don't panic, it's not broken. Also, don't damage this. This will unscrew off the bolt, this little ring terminal. All you have to do, slide the sleeve back in, take this, and it just goes snap, and yours goes new.
You've basically seen the initial part of going ahead and taking everything apart. I should have mentioned the tools that you're going to need in the beginning, and I think the reason why it slipped me is because you really don't need much at all. As Kevin said, a set of pliers are going to work. We're using our little electric ratchet here, our little Husky guy, and a 12 millimeter. And that's pretty much it. I recommend maybe a little magnet just in case some of the hard to reach spots you need to get one of the bolts in there. And I think we're using a little pick, and that's really it. We did pick up a couple little bowls just because we've got everything off. We're gonna go ahead and clean it, degrease it, maybe put it in the tumbler. That way it's nice and clean when everything goes back together. But not much for tools really on this install, guys. So you should probably have everything at home in your own garage for this.
I'm just opening the picks up and pulling the wiring cover off. And I'm short.
I know this one's a little bit easier to get to since it's not lifted. Mine was a little bit more fun. We had to get a little stepping stool even though I'm 6 foot.
We're taking the valve cover bolts off. Pay attention to where the long studs go versus the nuts. Okay, they do make a difference. They're part of the anchor system that holds down the wiring harness.
That's one of the fun ones.
Fun being a relative term. All right. Now this is a place to be careful. These are your, if you have air conditioning, these are your AC lines. This bracket is actually not a two-piecer. You just bend it back, and then all we're going to do is gently kind of loosen these so that they're not stuck in there. Then we can finish taking the front valve cover bolt apart.
So we did have to actually take this guy off on the front. Like the 97 that we did earlier, my TJ, was a little bit different. It didn't have this guy, so we had to get this because it was actually covering the front. So now we're just removing the valve cover.
Watch your fingers. You just have to work it out from under that.
You got to wiggle it just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's nice and clean. It does look good. It does look good, but it looks a little unoiled.
All right, guys, so we got the valve cover gasket or cover off, and we're going to change the gasket out. While it's off, though, Kevin is checking a couple of the push rods here.
And what I'm doing, folks, is just taking a health of the valve train, upper valve train. You want to check the lifters, make sure there's a very slight amount of movement, but not much. You want to spin the push rod. I don't know if you can see that. And if it spins smoothly and it's not rattly, you know that your lifters aren't collapsed and your push rods aren't bent. So it's just a general. You check every one of your springs to make sure you don't have any broken coils while you're in here. Look for any abnormal wear on the tips. See how it's holding oil? That means the tips haven't worn through, because if they wear through from mileage, they'll leak. Same thing on the trunnion bearings down here in the bottom. There's no oil in here right now, but when you run the engine, this fills up with oil. The oil comes up the push rod tube and out that little hole, fills this, and these rockings splash it everywhere. And if that's worn through, this won't hold oil. It'll just drain out the bottom, but there's no signs of drainage on these. These just are the way they are because it hasn't been run in a while. But the tips are good, the rockers are good, there's no cracks. You kind of look for cracks down the sides. You make sure that all of the yokes are tight. And like I say, you're gonna have to crank the engine over, and I just did it by taking a socket on the alternator up here. And if you watch the rockers here, you can see how they're moving ever so slightly. A couple of them will start down. See, number 3 is starting down right here. And that loosened up the other ones back here where I could check the ones that I couldn't check before. Pretty simple, but if you're in here, it might as well take the time. All right, folks, old gasket. It's really not in horrible shape, but you can see how it's pushed flat, and it should have a fin on it. We've got the new one in the box, and we're going to talk to you about something special here, and that is with the donut gaskets, and we'll call them washers for the minute, but I'm going to show you something special about the 4-liter valve cover and how it's really not held down by the bolts. It's held down by some rubber donuts. Now when you take the valve cover off, what you're going to see is what look like washers I was mentioning earlier. And I've popped one out, and what they actually are, although these are a little crusty musty, is they're little washers all right, except that they have a stem. And when you, and then they're little old rubber donuts in here that go through the holes, and then the washer goes through them and then through the valve cover. And when this becomes old and crusty, and we're going to put you a picture right here, probably, if Mark's editor can handle it, of a comparison between the old and the new donuts. And the new rubber donuts snap in, and then you put these sleeves through those, so that when you tighten down, you actually are tightening the bolt between this and the head, where my thumb would be. And that's all you can do. It is the washer, the rubber washer, is what holds this valve cover down to the block and seals against the gasket. So you can tighten these all you want, but if these donuts are gone, if they're rock hard, it's going to leak oil. So make sure your new gasket comes with replacement rubber donuts.
All right, guys, so we went ahead and put the new gasket cover on. We've gotten everything tightened back up. So we hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, thanks to Kevin for hanging out with us today. Again, go check him out on the Trail Podcast, Kevin and Scott. But that's pretty much a simple install, guys. Like I said, not too many parts needed, but there's a couple things while you've got that open that you're gonna wanna check, a couple things you're gonna wanna look at while you've got it all open. So we wanted to add a little bit of that in there. So again, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. As usual, like, subscribe, follow. If you've got anything you wanna add, always put it in the comments below, or something you guys wanna see on one of the next episodes, put it in the comment below. We'll do our best to get to you. But other than that, see you guys next time.